Well, good Monday morning to everybody. Hope you had a nice weekend. We are wrapping up Wednesday, June the 17th. We have an extra game to fit in. It is the California Angels hosting the Texas Rangers. The reason why I carried this over from last week is because the June 18th date is a Thursday and there are only 4 games scheduled. So rather than play this one offline, I figured extend it now to today. And then tomorrow we'll start with the June 18th, the 4 games scheduled. And actually, Milwaukee-Toronto is tomorrow's game. And those are the two teams fighting for first place in the AL East. So tomorrow will be Milwaukee and Toronto from Toronto. Juan Nieves against Dave Steep. Should be a pretty good matchup. But here we're going to wrap up June the 17th date, game number 443 overall in the replay. Anaheim Stadium, Angel Stadium, whatever they called it. Singles are 1-5, home runs 1-12, both sides of the plate. Texas Rangers, California Angels, we have Greg Harris and Mike Witt on the mound for the two respective teams. A couple of right-handers. Mike Witt on the real season, 16-14 with a 4.01 ERA. If we look at his numbers on the replay, he is 7-3 with an ERA of 3.44, so doing a little bit better. 99 innings pitched, 85 hits, 27 walks, and 97 strikeouts. He's excellent holding runners, along with Bob Boone's -3, Mike Witt's -2, combines for a -5, so Texas may not have some trouble trying to get a lead or get steals. Bob Boone, like I said, at -3 throwing arm, he does have a fastball rating of 3. Problem for Texas is Petralli has a fastball rating of 18, so that could cause him some problems. Harris, 6 wild pitch and 6 balk. Mike Witt, 5 wild pitch, 0 balk. But Harris has a +1 hold mainly because Petralli's a +2. Harris is actually a -1, but the +2 makes him an overall +1. So, hello, Kathy. Good morning, Larry and Jeremiah. Good to see all of you listening in. Well, that's fine. No question about it. When Mr. Guterman was doing his replays in the morning, that's what I would do because I was driving. I obviously couldn't watch if I'm driving, but I certainly listened. And that's nothing wrong with that, as they say. Just as Seinfeld once famously said, something along the lines of, not that there's anything wrong with that. So, of course, he was talking about a different subject, I believe. But anyway, I digress. All right, so hopefully the lighting and everything is okay for you guys so you can see everything. I don't want to get too close. Well, maybe I can try to get a little closer, but I don't want to lose the peripherals either. So let's back this. I'll move my stuff around. Let's back the dice tray up a little bit so you can see everything. But I think everything's pretty well in view now if I can look at it correctly. If I need to pull away some or back the webcam, zoom in back further, I will. All right, leading things off for the Texas Rangers will be Jerry Brown. Hello, Kevin. Good to see you. Good morning to you. Brown on the replay is hitting .273, a homer and 14 driven in. He hit .271 real world. And of course, before the first pitch of the game, we have the ceremonial first sip. And that is some good coffee. Hey, Kevin, if the Carlton replay will come back at some point. I'm just having a hard time getting back to it because it's payoff pitch, and it's just something about payoff pitch that I don't know what it is. But I know people are going gaga over this payoff pitch computer stuff that's coming out, but I'm just not drinking the Kool-Aid on that. I'm sorry. I mean, it's an okay game, but it's not my top 3, that's for sure. I mean, I'll get back to it. It's not a bad game. It's just, I don't know. It'll eventually get there. All right, here's Jerry Brown. It's a 1-4, and that's going to be a ground ball to second base. And that's an easy play for McLemore. And we're underway from California. Here's Scott Fletcher. shortstop. He's hitting 320 on the replay. A homer and 33 driven in. He had 287 real world. 3-6, and that's a home run 1-4, but that's a 17, so he'll settle with a double. Scott Fletcher cracks his 15th double of the season. He had 28 of them real world. He's at second base for Ruben Sierra. He was on a real hot streak for home runs in the beginning of the season. It's kind of cooled off lately. He's hitting 290 on the replay, 19 homers, 46 driven in. He had 30 home runs real world. First havoc roll of the game. Nothing happened. Hello, Midlife. Good to see you. 2-5, and that's going to be a fly ball to center field. That's out number 2. 2 down. I do plan on completing the Carlton replay. It's one of those things I kind of have to do in chunks where I record maybe 2 or 3 games at once when I'm in the mood for it, and then just piecemeal them out. So that's probably what I will end up doing. Here's Pete O'Brien. O'Brien on the replay hitting 285, 13 homers, 32 driven in. Hit 286 real world. Clutch situation, as a matter of fact. 6'9", but it's off the pitcher card, so it doesn't matter. That's a single to center field. Center fielder Pettis is a +1 arm, so it's a good chance Fletcher will score here. Fletcher's a 13, not being a hell is a 14. 2 outs makes him a 16, and then the +1 makes him a 17. So 1-17, they're going to send him. Here comes the throw, and he's in there. So RBI single from Pete O'Brien. Since he runs less than 13, my house rule is if he's a 13 or if he's a 12 or less, he cannot advance on the throw. It has to be a 13 or higher speed to advance, so he stays at first base. That, again, is not in the rule book. That is my homebrew that I think is more realistic, because slower guys generally aren't going to take the extra bases like that. Where Strat-O-Matic out of the box, just carte blanche gives the guy an extra base, which I don't agree with. And that's why I like this, that's why I say play the game the way you want to play it, All right, here's Larry Parrish, designated hitter, hitting 242, 11 homers, 31 driven in. He hit 268 real world. 3-2, and that's a hit by pitch. So Mike Witt plunks Larry Parrish, and that will put runners at first and second. Another clutch situation for Pete Incaviglia, the left fielder. Incaviglia hitting 243, 13 homers, 37 driven in on the replay. Hit 271 real world. Nothing on the habit. 4-4. Catcher X for Mike Witt. That's Bob Boone. And Boone is a 1E14. 1-20 for a catcher should be a pop-up or maybe a ground out. Let's see. Catcher 1 and a 20 is a G1, but that's a 16, so that could be problematic. He's an E14, and that's a 16 right there. He's an E14. The 16 is right there, so it'll be a one-base error on Bob Boone to keep the inning going. So sloppy play by California. And the bases are loaded now with 2 outs for O-B McDowell. Clutch situation for McDowell. And in the clutch, he gains 1 hit on 3-3. McDowell on the replay hitting 224, 4 homers, 20 driven in. He hit 241 real world. 2-8 for McDowell. He flies it to center field, and Mike Witt gets out of the mess, allowing just the 1 run. Could have been a lot worse as the Rangers leave the bases loaded. We go to the bottom of the first. Texas 1 in California coming to bat. Kevin, the NBC game of the week starts 2 weeks from this. Let me move forward. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday is when that starts. It will not be 1989 Fall Classic. It will be something else. And I will announce that later in the week, what that's going to be. All right. Here is Brian Downing. Downing, the designated hitter. He's hitting 333 on the replay, 16 homers, 49 driven in. He hit 272 real world. 3-6, and that's going to be a base on ball. So Downing, not a fast runner, but he gets on base, to quote the Moneyball movie. He gets on base. So that's why Gene Mauch had him in the leadoff position. He's, of course, no threat to steal. And that'll bring up Devon White. He's hitting 290 on the replay. 10 homers, 39 driven in. He hit 263 real world. He's an A bunter, but they're already down 1-0, and he's got a good bat. So we're not going to waste an out with a bunt. That's a 1 on Greg Harris. His wild pitch rating is a 6. And no wild pitch. So White will bat 3-5, and that's why we don't bunt right there. 1 to 11 is going to be a double 2 stars. You got second and third, nobody out, instead of a runner at second and 1 out with a bunt. So second and third, they got Greg Harris on the ropes early on for Wally World. Wally Joyner. Joyner hitting 303 on the replay. 16 homers, 38 driven in. He at 285 real world. Infield for the Rangers is back. They need outs. They don't have anybody out right now. They want to make sure they don't get a ground ball plus through the infield or something like that, or an X chance with the pound sign. 6-4, and that is a ballpark single check. It's only 1 to 5, so we'll keep the line out to short. And that freezes everybody. Nobody can move up. That'll bring up Doug DeSensei. Now with 1 out, they will bring the infield in just to avoid a cheap run. So DeSensei at bat with the infield in. He's hitting 228 on the replay, 9 homers, 32 driven in. He at 234 real world. 4-5, and that's a strikeout for Greg Harris. So he's looking to get out of this without worrying about where the infield is. Strike the guy out, the infield can be where they want to be. So that'll bring up Jack Howell, left fielder, in a clutch situation. Howell in the clutch loses 1 hit on 2-7. Everywhere else he is neutral. That's a 1 again. So Harris, if he throws a wild pitch here, it'll be a run. 1-6. Nope, it's blocked again by Petrali. Did a good job there. Here's Howell. He's hitting 280 on the replay. 8 homers, 23 driven in. He hit 245 in the actual season. 3-9, and that's another walk. Second walk issued by Harris. It will load the bases for Dick Schofield, the shortstop. Clutch situation for Schofield. Texas had the bases loaded with 2 outs in the first, top of the first, and they got the same thing here in the bottom of the first. Schofield hitting 224, 4 homers, 23 driven in on the replay, 251 real world. In the clutch, he loses hits on 3-9, 1-9, and 1-10. So he's got 3 places where he will lose those hits in the anti-clutch. 3-10, 3-9 would have been the anti-clutch hit. 3-10, he's got a chance here. 1-14 is a single. That's a 13. Base hit for Schofield, and we got a tie game. It's only 1 star, so only move up 90 feet, but that's good enough to tie the game. We are tied at 1, and the bases are still loaded. And that'll bring up Bob Boone. Boone, the catcher, hitting 239, a homer and 9 driven in on the replay, 242 real world. In the clutch, he loses a hit on 212 and 3-8. That's a 110, though. He's going to pop it up to third, so also, just like Texas did, left the bases loaded. They get the 1 run, but that was it. So lots of opportunities on both sides, but neither one of them can cash in big. They each get a single run, and then we go to the top of the second, 1-1. Both pitchers kind of get away easy, in my opinion, based on what they allowed to happen. So now Gino Petrali, the catcher, is up. Gino Petrali, 288, a homer and 12 driven in on the replay, 302 real world. 4-7, he's a switch hitter batting left, and that's a ground ball, second base X. McLemore, 2E22 for McLemore. 2 and a 12 should be okay. Check it out here. 2 and a 12 is a G1. That is a 14, and he's an E22. There's a 12, 18, and 17, no 14, so good play for Mr. McLemore. Kathy, your questions are always welcome, so I'll try to tee you up for the top of the third. All right, here's Buechele. Buechele hitting 235, 7 homers, 29 driven in. 237 real world. 4-6, and that's a strikeout for Witt, and that is his first of the game. Much better start for Mr. Witt here in the second than what was in the first. And here's the governor, Jerry Brown. 3-6 for Brown. He's going to ground it to McLemore, and that's an easy inning for Mike Witt. Takes care of the Rangers, no problem. We go to the bottom of the second. Still tied at 1. And do it for the Angels. It'll be Pettis, McLemore, and Downing. Gary Pettis on the replay. Checks in. Hitting .230. No homers, 23 driven in. He hit .208 real world. And he can run if he gets on. 1-5, but he's not going to get home with a strikeout. Can't steal first base, as that old adage goes. 1 away. Second strikeout for Harris. Brings up McLemore. McLemore on the replay hitting .281. 3 homers, 22 driven in. He hit .236. The actual season. 4-6. Switch hitter batting left. That's another strikeout for Greg Harris, his third. Back-to-back Ks here in the second. And here comes Brian Downing. He walked and scored his first trip. 1-8, and this time he will strike out here. So Greg Harris strikes out the side. How about that? Talking a rebound inning. He struck out the side at the end of 2. We're still tied at 1 apiece. And now if you turn your attention to the chat area, Kathy has a trivia question to get us started on this Monday morning while I take another sip of coffee. And we'll see if we can put our thinking caps on to figure out what it is. Let's see here. Without ever making a start, who was the first pitcher to appear in 1,000 games? I got an idea, but I'll see if the rest of the folks want to chime in. I have a name, and if nobody gets it, I'll try to throw it out there. But I have a name, but it might not be right. I mean, I have no idea. Just a guess. But I'll see if anybody else wants to try. And it's probably not even right, but it's just a guess. But his initials are HW. But may not even be right now that I think about it, but who knows? That's why the trivia questions are fun. Midlife guesses Kent DeColvey. He certainly pitched a long time, but the guy I'm thinking of has initials of HW. Oh, Midlife did get it. Okay, cool. 1,000. I didn't realize he pitched. I was thinking Hoyt Wilhelm, but he was around for a long time. He actually may have started, though, now that I think about it. I think Hoyt Wilhelm actually did start some games. So Midlife, you were right on it. The Sidewinder, Kent DeColvey. The original Submariner, then, of course, Dan Quisenberry came along after that. Oh, he was a starter in 1959. Okay, that's what killed it. Okay, because I knew he pitched a lot of games, but interesting they would make him a starter. Do what they have to do, I guess. Midlife on it. Way to go. Thank you for the question there, Kathy. All right, here's Scott Fletcher. He doubled and scored his first trip. That's a 5-11, and that's a fly ball right field X. We are looking at Devon White. He's a 1, so we know he's going to get to it. We're just checking the E9, and for an outfielder, the E9 for a right fielder only has 11, 16, 3, and 18. So 3, 11, 16, and 18 are the numbers to avoid. And 13 certainly falls in that category, so there is no error on the play. Devon White will make the play easily. Well, maybe not easily, but he makes the play. And Fletcher is retired. 1 away, and that's going to bring up Ruben Sierra. Flew to center his first chance. 1-9 for Sierra. He's going to ground it to third, where DeSensei will make the play. 2 down. And that brings up Pete O'Brien. 2-8 for O'Brien, and he's going to ground it to Schofield at short. And that's another 1, 2, 3 inning for Mike Witt. We go to the bottom of the third, still tied at 1. Due up for the Angels, it'll be White, Joyner, and DeSensei. Heart of the order, 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Devon White, doubled his first time up, but was stranded at third base. 6-4. That's another ballpark single check. Again, 1-5, but that's a 4. So Devon White gets that base hit. He's 2 for 2. Is Devon White. And he is going to probably look to get a good lead. Let's look at his stolen base totals, real world and replay. See what he's done. Devon White in the real season stole 32 bases, got caught 11 times. In the replay, he's stolen 12 bases, gotten caught 3 times. So he's going for the lead, needs a 3, 4, 5, or 6, and Harris pitcher-catcher quotient is a +1. So that would make him a 1-17 if he gets the lead, but he needs a 3, 4, 5, or 6. Doesn't get it, so he's going to hold. Brings up Wally World. Wally World, line to short his first time up on a failed ballpark check. 4-7, and that's a ground ball second base X. Jerry Brown's a 3, possible double play chance. If the D20 is kind, which it is not, it's a 1. The devil die shows up in midweek form on a Monday. So a 3 and a 1, obviously. It's a single 2 stars, and that'll put the runner to third base. That's a 14. He's an E16. There's a 15, 16, 17, and 18, but no 14. So fortunately for Texas, there was no error on the play. But Joyner basically gets the single 2 asteroids, as someone once said. And we got runners on the corners with nobody out. Joyner, no threat to run, will not be held. Rangers are playing back for the double play. They need outs in the worst way. If they can get by with just allowing 1 run, they'll probably be happy. 4-7, and that's a 1-4 single. That's an 18, though, so it's a liner to short. So Harris got a good outing there. Good outcome where he got the out with no runner advancement. Now a double play will get you out of the inning. They're looking for that Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play to get out of this inning. Here's Jack Howell, walked his first chance. 5-5, and that's a fly ball left field, but it's a C, so shallow, too shallow, and Incavilla comes in and makes the catch, and even the speedy Devon White says it's not deep enough. So 2 down, and here is Schofield. He came up last time in a clutch situation and got this split result to get a base hit. Let's see if he can do it again in this clutch situation. 6-11. It's another ballpark single check, 1-5, but this time it's not in his favor. He will line to short, and the inning is over. So we played 3 innings here in California on this carryover game from Wednesday the 17th. Of course, the new week starts tomorrow. June 18th, we'll be in Toronto for that big matchup between the Brewers and the Blue Jays, the battle for first place in the AL East. Dave Steve and Juan Nieves. That'll be tomorrow. But right now we're wrapping up. Since there's only 4 games scheduled for Thursday, we're wrapping up this rollover from Wednesday to give us 5 games. Oh, and now I'm dropping my dice. I hate when that happens. And, of course, the dice are square, but it's amazing where they'll roll. And I have no idea where this sucker rolled. Oh, there it is. It's under the table. This gets a little bit harder when you're okay. I think we're back, but don't hold me to it. I think it's showing that it's back now. Pretty sure it is. Somebody can confirm that, but I think it's showing that it's back now. Hopefully. And I don't know how much you guys missed. So I don't know. I didn't realize it had gone that way until I was just playing. I just happened to look at the computer and saw the spinning wheel. So hopefully, we back this up just a hair so I can see more of the score sheet. Hopefully, everything is back to where it needs to be. I'm hoping it is anyway. In case you missed it, what I did in the 4th inning, Larry Parrish walked, and then Incavilla had a ballpark check, and he made an out, so it was a liner to short. So we're picking it up with Odeby McDowell at the plate and 1 out, Larry Parrish at first. So hopefully that gets everybody up to speed. I'm assuming it is, so we'll have to check it out and get this game going again. Mike Witt, Tracy McDowell, 2-7, and that is a strikeout for Mike Witt. That's his second. Still looks like it's a little shaky on the on how it's doing. It seems like a little choppy. I'm hoping it clears up. Good old Xfinity. You can't, pay them all that money and they still manage to give you inferior streaming capabilities. Larry, like I said, what happened in this inning, Parrish walked, Incavi lined to short, and McDowell just struck out. So hopefully that catches everybody up to date. 2 outs, Gino Petrali, the batter. We're still tied at 1, top of the 4th. 2-8, and that's a ground ball to second base, and McLemore will take care of it. And that will end the inning. So I think, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think that the bandwidth and all that stuff has caught up and it's not choppy anymore, hopefully. But like I said, with technology and Xfinity, you never know. It does what it wants to do. So we go to the bottom of the 4th. If Kathy's still around, she had a trivia question for the top of the 5th. You're more than welcome to do so if she's still here. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Here's Bob Boone. 1-6 for Boone, pops it up to second base. And if it ever does get that circle in the sand stuff, know that I am feverishly working behind the scenes to get back online. So it may take 2 or 3 minutes because I gotta shut down the whole computer and give it a couple seconds, then reboot it and basically start all over again. So, but it will eventually get back online. Hopefully, anyway. 1-7, that's a strikeout for Pettis. And that is going to be strikeout number 5 for Greg Harris. So the pitching seems to have settled down since that rough first inning for both sides. You are here. Good. All right, Kathy. Put you on deck here for the trivia question with now 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th. 2-7, and that's a 1-9 single. That's an 18, so he lines it to second, and that's going to do it for the Angels. We played 4, and the score remains 1-1. And now, as long as Xfinity holds out, if you will turn your attention to the chat area, Kathy has another trivia question. Hopefully it doesn't get cut off by Xfinity. We shall see. Hope not. Here is the question. First Major League team to appear in 3 consecutive World Series. Wow. First Major League team. That can be... it had to have happened before the Oakland A's did it, so it had to be back in the day. You would think it would be the Yankees, but maybe that's too obvious of an answer, so I'll let somebody else figure that one out. Hello, Mike. Good to see you. We're back now. I had a little Xfinity problem, but I got back online. First World Series team to appear in 3 consecutive World Series. I'm going to guess the Oakland A's of the 70s, but I'm sure that's wrong. It's probably like the Cardinals or Giants or Yankees or some type back in the old days. So, because the key is there is consecutive. I know Oakland did it 72, 73, and 74, but there's probably somebody in the 40s or 30s or something that did it before that. Because the other keyword is first. So, we'll give you guys the guesses while we continue. Steve Buechele, number 9 hitter, steps to the plate. Kathy might even have to give us a hint if nobody can get it. 1-6 is a ground ball to short. 1 away. Buechele is out of there. Here is Jerry Brown, the governor. That's a 6-5 switch hitter. That's a fly ball to left field. 2 away. For Scott Fletcher. 1 for 2 with a double. Larry Harris says he's stumped. 3-7 is a strikeout, and that's going to end the inning. So Mike Witt gets strikeout number 3. Like I say, I'm sure Oakland's 1970 stuff was 3 in a row, but it was not the first, I'm sure. Had to be somebody back in the old days that did that. We got a guess of Brooklyn by Larry. I don't know if that's right or not. We shall see. Kathy has not said yay or nay or given a hint or what, decade or whatever, what time frame we're talking about. In the meantime, we're at the bottom of the fifth and we're top of the order for the Angels. Brian Downing, he has walked and struck out. JT says the Cubs from 06, 07, and 08. That's a pretty good guess. I know they were there in 08. I don't know about 06 and 07. Now, I think they were there in 06 too because they played the White Sox. Don't know about 07 though, so I have no idea. That's way before my baseball. JT, JT got it. Excellent, JT. Right on the ball there. Cubs in 06, 07, and 08. Very good. I'm having a good day, JT. Obviously, Mondays aren't bad for me anymore, so I don't dread Mondays anymore. I actually like Mondays. And baseball season's almost here, so all the better. Here's Downing. Of course, it's always baseball season when you got Strat-O-Matic or any of these tabletop games. 6-4, that's a fly ball center field X. We are looking at the center fielder, O-Matic McDowell. He's a 3E5. 3 and a 14, that's definitely going to be good enough. 3 and a 14 is a F2. That's a 9, and he is an E5 center field. No 9 there, so McDowell makes the nice play. And Downing is retired. That'll send up Devon White. He's 2 for 2, a single and a double. 2-6, and that's a ground ball to second. So Harris finally takes care of Devon White. 2 up, 2 down for Wally Joyner. Joyner is 1 for 2. (5-9), and that's going to be a fly to center field. 1-2-3 inning for Greg Harris. And boy, the pitching really has, since that first inning, they've really settled in. Nothing but goose eggs the rest of the way. Top of the 6th we go. Still 1-1. Ruben Sierra is your batter. Sierra 0 for 2. 4-3, and that's a ground ball pitcher X. Witt's an E18. Of course, the cards don't give you his range. I got to go to the computer for that. His range is a 3. So he's a 3 E18 for Mike Witt. 3 and a 3. That could be an issue. Let's find out. Pitcher side of the house. 3 and a 3 is going to be a single. It's going to get by for a single. That's a 12, and he's an E18 on a 12. E18, there's a 12 right there. So Mike Witt is going to commit an error as well. So it's a single plus an error to add insult to injury. And Ruben Sierra starts the inning. Single plus the E1. And he's at second base with nobody out. Not exactly what Mike Witt had in mind. But it was his own doing. Brings up Pete O'Brien. For 7, and that's a ground ball second base at X. At worst, it will get Sierra to third base at a bare minimum. Second baseman McLemore, 2E22. 2 and a 12 for an infielder. Should be no problem. 2 and a 12 is a G1, but again, with the ball hit to the right side, it's automatically going to third. That's an 11. He's an E22. E22, there's a 12 there, but no 11. So McLemore does make the play. Going to third base with now only 1 out is Sierra. So the Angels are going to have to bring the infield in, try to choke that runoff with 1 out. And it's going to be Larry Parrish time. Parrish has been hit by a pitch, and he's walked. (4-8), and that is a, well, it doesn't matter where the infield is right now. 4-8's a 1-6 double, 7-20 single. That's a 5. It's a double for Larry Parrish RBI double. The run will now be earned because, well, you know what? It shouldn't be earned because technically that was a G1 that would have been a double play. So in my mind, it's an unearned run. The Strat computer may give them as an earned run because you can't assume the double play, I guess, is the technical term is you can't assume a double play. So I'm not sure how the Strat computer is going to calculate that, but in my mind, it's unearned, but I think in reality, it is earned. And here's Pete Incaviglia. Four, 8, and more trouble for Witt. 1-6 is another double, and that's going to be a 4. So obviously, that's going to get through for a double, back-to-back doubles, and Texas now leads it 3-1. They're getting to Witt this third time through the order. 3-1 Texas. Here's O-B McDowell. All of a sudden now, Gene Mauch's got to get the bullpen going. Chuck Finley, lefty, loosening the bullpen. We don't want this to get away from him. Here's McDowell. 4-6. Struck him out. There's a dot there, but he doesn't get fatigue until next inning. So strikeout is good. 4th strikeout. Much needed strikeout for Mike Witt. Now 2 outs clutch situation for Gino Petralli. First base is open if they want to walk Petralli and go after Buechele. Petralli a much better hitter than Buechele. Tough call there. I think they're going to go ahead and pitch to Petralli, though. Clutch situation for Petralli. He loses a hit on 1-8. That's a 4-8 instead, and that's bad news right there. And that would have been the same righty or lefty. 4-8 is a 1-5 double. That's a 2, so it's another double, the third double of the inning by Texas, and they now take a 4-1 lead. They are just doubling Mike Witt all over the place. 3 runs are in, it's 4-1. And here's Buechele. If he doesn't get Buechele, he may be out of this ball game. 6-10, and that is a ballpark single check, 1-5. That's a 2. So it's a single, only 1 star. Puts runners on the corners now. And now the 9th man to bat, or actually the 8th man to bat in the inning, Jerry Brown. Now, does Jerry Brown do better or worse against lefties? I don't think it matters. I think Gene Mauch has seen enough. They're going to bring in Chuck Finley, the lefty, out of the bullpen. So Witt is going to go 5 2/3 innings. Can't close the book on Witt because he is responsible for both of these runners. Right now, he's assigned 4 runs, and I'm assuming they're all earned. Let's go to the Strat computer to bring in Mr. Finley out of this bullpen. Chuck Finley on the real season was 2-7 with a 4.67 ERA, no saves. On the replays, 2-5 with a 3.48 ERA and 1 save. So he's pitched pretty well in the replay, comparatively speaking, to real life. And now he's going to be facing Jerry Brown. Finley's a -2 to go with the -3 here, so we keep the -5, but that may not be that relevant anymore. And we'll get the totals on Witt at the end of the inning. All right, here is Jerry Brown. Clutch situation for Jerry Brown against the left-hander. He loses a hit on 3-2. 2-6, and that's going to be a ground ball to short, and that will end the inning. But a 3 spot for the Rangers, and they grab a 4-1 lead. Now we can go back and fill in the gaps for Mike Witt. Go to the box score. Curious to see if Strat gave him that earned run or not. Yeah, they counted that run as earned. I guess you can't assume a double play. All right, 7 hits, 4 runs, walked 1, struck out 4. That closes the book on Witt. He's in danger of dropping to 7-4. Harris trying to improve to 2-3. He's in a good standing right now with a 3-run lead. Certainly well on his way to get there, and he's retired 9 in a row. This is his fatigue inning. He does have a 6 here, so this is his fatigue inning. We'll keep an eye on that. Bobby Valentine really doesn't like his bullpen that much, though, so might be a little shaky to go there, but might have to. Here's the Sensei. 4-10, and that's a ballpark blast. First ballpark blast we've had, 1-12, and that's gone. Doug to Sensei. Home run. It wasn't clean, but it counts. Look at it again. 4-10 against the right-hander is a ballpark blast. It's 1-12 for Anaheim Stadium, and that's an 11. And, of course, the Sensei has normal power. So for Doug to Sensei, he gets one of the runs back right away. On the replay for the Sensei, that is home run number 10. He had 16 real world. RBI number 33 on the replay. He had 63 real world. Cuts the lead to 4-2. So Bobby Valentine's like, I can't even relax a second. My pitcher is going to give up the lead this quickly. Here's Jack Howell. 4-5, and that's a ground ball to second. So that'll help the cause if you're Texas. Jerry Brown makes the play. 1 away for Dick Schofield. 1-7. That's a home run on a 1-3, but that's a 19, so we're going to fly to left. 2 down for Bob Boone. Booney, 0 for 2. 5-7, and that's a double, 1-6. That's an 8. He'll settle with a single. 2-out single for Boone. Now one more base runner, and Greg Harris will be fatigued. Here's Gary Pettis. He's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. That is a 4-4 switch hitter batting left. That's a catcher X. That's Petralli. He's a 4E1. This has pass ball written all over it. 4E1. 4-10 for a catcher. Let's see what he's going to do with that. 4-10 is a P/P. That is a 13. He is an E1, so that's not a problem. But we'll go to P/P, which is on the other side here. And we're looking at the wild pitch rating of Greg Harris to see if a pass ball has occurred. Harris, wild pitch rating's a 6. And it will be a pass ball on Mr. Petralli. Puts the runner in scoring position with 2 outs. Pettis in the clutch. Loses a hit on 112 and 310 and 2-6 and 3-4. He's got 4 spots he loses hits. This is a 4-5, though. It's ground ball to second, and that'll do it. So the home run from DeSensei is all they get. Harris keeps minimal endurance into the next inning. We go to the top of the 7th. Rangers 4 and Angels 2. Here's Finley back out. Finley will be facing Fletcher, the only player not to bat last inning. It'll be Fletcher, Sierra, and O'Brien due up. I know the cards are starting to come off the page here. If I get a 6 column or a 3 column, I will slide the cards over. Finley to Fletcher. It's a 5-8, and that's a strikeout. So Finley gets the strikeout on Fletcher, 1 away. That'll send up Ruben Sierra. 4-5, switch hitter batting right-handed. That's a base on balls for Ruben Sierra. And they're not going to, the odds on there would not be good to try to send him, so we're going to hold him there. Here's Pete O'Brien. That's a 2. Balker pass ball. Looking at a pass ball chance on Boone. He is a 3 rated pass ball. No pass ball. He blocked it. Here's O'Brien. 5-8, lefty. That's a strikeout for Chuck Finley. 2 down for Larry Parrish, the designated hitter. Had a big double to start that, get the run started in that 6th inning. And against lefties in the clutch, he gains a couple of hits, 2-4 and 2-10. Also 1-2 and 3-10, 3-11. He's got 5 clutch hits against lefties. 4-3 is, although it's a ground ball to short. X. Schofield 2E12. 2E12 for Schofield. 2 and a 20. He got a break there, so that's no problem. E12 and a 7. You would think wouldn't be a problem. E12, nope, 15, 3, and 18. So Schofield makes the play, and Parrish is out of there, and so are the Rangers. We got the 7th inning stretch. Score still Texas 4, California 2. Greg Harris on a short leash as he's almost hit his fatigue level. Problem for Texas is they don't have much in the bullpen they trust. So we'll have to see how far they are going to let Harris go. That's why they paid Bobby Valentine the big bucks. Here's McLemore. 6'9", switch hitter batting left, and that's a 1-17 double. So a leadoff double for Mark McLemore, and now the Texas bullpen has started already. Didn't take long. Let's look at their bullpen. They have right-hander Jeff Russell loosening in the bullpen. Getting ready quickly. Here's Downing. One more base runner, and Harris will be fatigued. 4-3. That's ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Fletcher. He's a 3E26. 3E26. 3 and a 17 is going to be a good play. E26 and a 10 should be all right. 10s don't usually give you errors. That's a 12, 17, and 18. So he makes the good play. 3 and a 17 is a G1, so the runner's going to have to hold. So Downing cannot advance the runner. Big out there to get for Greg Harris. Here's Devon White. For 3, that's ground ball pitcher X. Harris is a 3E38 defensively. 3 and a 12. Should get to that. 3 and a 12 for a pitcher is a G3, so the runner's going to go to third. That's a 12, and he is an E38. And there's a 12 here, so not only will he not get the out, runner goes to third, so we have an E1, and that's going to put runners at the corners. With 1 out, Devon White looking to run. He's a 3, 4, 5, or 6 to get the lead. He gets the lead. He's going to go. He's an 18, being held to 16, plus 1's a 17. 1-17, and he's in there. Stolen base, and that's a possible throwing error on Petrali. His teeth rated to 3. No throwing error, but it is a stolen base for Devon White. And now the tying run is in scoring position and it takes away the double play as well. That's why you steal there. Some people say you don't steal runners on the corners. I totally disagree. If you got a good stealing chance, you take it. Get that runner in scoring position and take away that double play. All right, here's Wally Joyner. This might be Greg Harris's last. Well, there's a 1 possible wild pitch. He's a 6. And it is a wild pitch, and that will score the run and move the tying run to third base with only 1 out. So the infield is going to have to come in. It is now 4-3. Man, what do you do here? Harris has held Joyner pretty good. 1 for 3. So I think you're going to let him pitch to Joyner. They won't let him pitch to the Sensei. This will be his last batter one way or the other. Infield is in. 3-11, and that is a ballpark single check. I'll bring it over here. I know it's kind of maybe out of the camera area there. 3-11 is a ballpark single check. That's a 6. It's just out of range. It'll be a line out to second base. Holding at third is Devon White, and that's going to be it for Greg Harris. Even the out was hit hard. So reluctantly, Bobby Valentine makes that walk to the mound for Jeff Russell. Get that fresh arm in there. So we go to the bullpen on the computer. Bring in Mr. Russell. Get his numbers on the replay, as well as Real World. Real World 5-4, 4.44 ERA and 3 saves. On the replay, he is 2-1, 5.23 ERA and no saves. So Jeff Russell trying to get it done. Harris will cap him at 6 2/3 innings. Gave up 7 hits, and we'll fill out the rest later when the inning's over. So Russell will face the Sensei in a clutch situation. 2 outs and the tying run at third base in the clutch. The Sensei loses hits on 1-2, and that's it. Everywhere else he's neutral. So Russell tries to get out of this. 4-4. Ground ball third base, actually got a chance. Buechel's a 2E15, pretty good fielder. But the double die comes up as a 1. You can't beat the double die, I'm telling you. Don't even try it. 2-1 is a single. It runs on third, so it doesn't matter about the stars. That's going to be a game-tying single that is charged to Greg Harris. It's unearned because of the error, but the Angels don't care. And let's see here, 13, and he is an E15 at third base. There's an error on top of it to add insult to injury. So it's a single plus an error. E5, second error of the inning. This one on the usually reliable Buechel. And we are all tied at 4 apiece. It gets Mike Witt off the hook, and Greg Harris cannot get a victory. He now is looking at a no decision. The game's in the hands now of Russell and Finley. Here's Jack Howell, runner at second, 2 outs. Clutch situation once again for Mr. Howell. He's completely neutral except for 2-7. He loses a hit there. 2-8, he just missed it, but that's a strikeout on a 2-8 to end the inning. But the Angels come back and tie it at 4 apiece, and we can close the book now on Greg Harris. At the end of 7 innings of play, we are tied at 4-4. Go to the box score and get the final totals on Mr. Greg Harris. Harris, 6 2/3, 7 hits, 4 runs. Only 2 of them were earned. Walked 2, struck out 5. So now top of the 8th, brand new game. Just like John Lennon saying, it's just like starting over. So here's Pete Incaviglia to face Finley. Incaviglia doubled his last time up. 1-9, and that's a ballpark blast for Incaviglia, 1-12, but that's a 16. Just a long out. On the warning track, Jack Howell makes the catch, 1 away. Here's O-B McDowell. 1-8 for McDowell against the lefty. He flies to right, 2 down. Of course, the Angels trying to catch the Oakland A's, and losing to Texas would not help the cause any at all. Here's Petralli, the switch-hitting catcher, now batting right-handed. 5-8, and that's a strikeout there to end the inning. So Finley impressive in his 2 innings of work. He's given up nothing but a walk. That's been it. So he definitely, and he's got a relief factor of 4, so he can finish the game if need be. He's got the endurance to do so. Russell's got a relief rating of 3, so he can finish the game as well. He'll be facing Schofield, Boone, and Pettis here in the top of the, or bottom of the 8th, rather. Let me back this up just a hair to see if we can make sure the cards don't get totally cut off. I like to get close to the cards, but if I get too close, I lose the peripherals. Go back 1 more notch. There, that way the cards fit. Hopefully you can still see them halfway decent. Schofield is 1 for 3. That's a 3-6 against the right-hander, and that's a ground ball to short. 1 away. Schofield is retired. Here is Bob Boone. 3-7 for Boone. That's a 1-5 double. That's a 2. That is a 2 on a 1-5 double for Bob Boone, and the double die is a 2. So Bob Boone with a double. Tempted here to pinch run for Boone because he is the go-ahead run. You do lose something defensively, obviously, if you do that, but I think the Angels are going to be a little aggressive here and try to put a good base runner in there. So let's see who the good base runner is. Actually, their best base runner, as far as speed goes, is the backup catcher, Darryl Miller. He runs at a 14 as opposed to the 9 of Bob Boone. So pretty easy choice there. 14 beats 9 all the time. So we will have a pinch runner. And, of course, Miller will stay in the game to catch as well in the top of the 9th. So Miller will pinch run in the 8th and then catch in the 9th. So he's a 14. He's not there to steal, but he's got a 14, and that'll help him score on a base hit. Gary Pettis is your batter. He's 0 for 3. Well, you like his defense in center, but you kind of have to have offense here. So they're going to pinch hit for Gary Pettis with Rupert Jones. Jones will pinch hit here in the 8th. He will stay in the game to play right field in the 9th, and they'll move Pettis. They'll move Devon White to center field in the 9th. So Rupert Jones, let's get the numbers on Jones, and we also got to make the changes of Darryl Miller running. So several items to take care of here on the on the computer. Get everything cleaned up. First is the pinch runner, Darryl Miller. To run for Boone, and then to pinch hit, we have Rupert Jones. Pinch hitting for Pettis. Jones, real world, hit 245, 8 home runs in 192 at-bats. On the replays, hitting 209, 4 homers in 67 at-bats. 4 homers, 7 driven in. Russell, trying to bear down. 6'9", and that's a single to right field. Right fielder arm is Sierra, though. Sierra's a -2, so even though he runs at a 14, not being held at a 15, you got the -2 to make it a 13. 13, do you send him on the 13 is the question. That'd be a 65% chance. And if they throw through, Jones will take second on the throw. I think you got to send him here. It's a 1 to 13. Let's look at it again. Jones runs as the pinch. I'm sorry, not Jones. Miller as the pinch runner runs at a 14 for Boone. He's not being held at second base, so he runs that makes him a 15. But the -2 from Sierra makes him a 13. So 1 to 13, he's going to be in there, and Pettis will take second on the throw regardless, whether he's out or safe, because they have to. Not Pettis, but Jones. Because Jones runs at a 13, so I allow that extra move up. So it's a 1 to 13. He's in there, and he's in there. So it's an RBI single, pinch hit single for Rupert Jones. Gets the job done. Angels lead it 5-4. Aggressive play by the Angels has paid off. Here's Mark McLemore. That's a 6-8, and that's going to be a 1 to 15 single. That's a 12. It's a single 1 star, though, so Jones has to stop at third. And now you wonder if possibly Russell might need relief. Now they're going to stick with him. Runners at the corners. McLemore. Let's see, Russell's a +1, so that would make him a +3 on the hold. So McLemore could try to steal here. Needs a 4, 5, or 6 to get the lead. He does not, so he'll hold. And here's Brian Downing. With 1 out, runners on the corners. Infield looking for that double play. Haven't had a Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play yet. Well, that one die didn't go through there. Let's try that again. 2-8, and that's a hit by pitch. So Downing gets plunked. Not sure if that's retaliation for the Parrish. Oddly enough, both DHs suffer the hit by pitch category. That loads the bases, and that's going to be it for Russell. I think Bobby Valentine has seen enough, and they will go to the pen. And they will go to the left-hander, Paul Kilgus. Paul Kilgus is going to come on. They got the switch hitting Devon White followed by the lefty Joyner, so they're going to go with Paul Kilgus out of the bullpen. So we'll bring that move on the computer. Check the numbers on Kilgus, the lefty. Kilgus, real season, was 2-7, 4.13 ERA, no saves. On the replays, 0-1 with an 8.64 ERA in just 8 innings of pitching. But he's in there to face Devon White. 1 out, bases loaded. They're going to play. They're going to play in because they don't think they can turn a double play on Devon White. So they're going to play in, try to get the run at the plate, if at all possible. Kilgus has a -6 hold, so that's good for him. Makes him a -4. White, 5-8, switch hitter. Fly ball left field B. It's a sacrifice fly for Devon White. That will bring home Rupert Jones. Second run of the inning. Angels lead at 6-4. On that fly out to left field. 2 down now for Wally Joyner. Clutch situation. Joyner in the clutch against the lefties. Gains a hit on 3-7. So 1-9. It's a ground ball to third. So Kilgus did about as good as he could do, given the circumstances, but he's put in a tough spot, obviously. He doesn't give up anything. He does give up the inherited runner. So now we're going to the 9th. Of a 6-4 game, and something didn't go right here. Let me put this in the computer here. Didn't do Devon White's. Did a fly out instead of a sacrifice fly, so that's what screwed that up. Should be a sacrifice fly to left. That's why I didn't register the run. And now Joyner grounds out to third. All right, so new catcher, Darryl Miller. He pinch ran for Bob Boone, so he is the catcher. Rupert Jones will stay in the game to play right field. And moving from right field to center field is Devon White. And coming into pitch is Dwayne Bice, the closer. He is the closer for the Angels. Dwayne Miami Bice. Yeoman work done by Chuck Finley for sure, 2 1/3. Let's get his numbers on the computer or off the box score just to tidy that up a bit. Finley went 2 1/3, gave up nothing, 1 walk and 3 strikeouts. So he would get the well-deserved win if they can pull it off and hold on to the lead. Bice on the real season was 6-7, ERA of 3.39, and he had 17 saves. On the replay, 5-2 with a 3.02 ERA and 5 saves. So going for save number 6, and the scheduled hitters he's going to be opposing, at least the ones that are scheduled to come up, Buechele, Brown, and Fletcher. But I think they're going to pinch hit for Buechele, as the Rangers are looking for a little bit of offense. Now we need to look and see who's available for them off the bench. You got lefty Darrell Porter. He's the only lefty. We do have a switch hitter, Curtis Wilkerson. And then 3 right-handers, Stanley, slot, and Brower. So we're obviously looking for either the lefty or the switch. So it looks like Darryl Porter will come on and pinch hit, the left-hander. He will pinch hit for Buechele, Mr. Porter. Porter on the real season hit .238, 7 home runs, and just 138 at bats. On the replays, really killing it, .348. Already got his 7 home runs and 11 RBI and 46 at bats. So he has done the job. Porter to pinch hit here in the 9th for the Rangers against Dwayne Bice. I need to get Russell's numbers as well. Forgot to get that off the box score while I was there. Should have done that. Don't want to leave any loose ends. So Russell, 2/3 of an inning, 4 hits, 2 runs they were earned, no walks and a strikeout. And Russell, the pitcher record to take the loss if things don't change. All right, here is Porter. To lead it off, pinch hitting, top of the 9th. Rangers led it 4-1. They now trail it 6-4. 1-6 for Porter, and that's a 1-16 single. That's a base hit for Darryl Porter. So Porter gets the base hit. Not worried about a pinch runner because you're down by 2, so his run doesn't really matter all that much. And now we're back to the top of the order in Jerry Brown. Jerry Brown, the tying run. That's a 2, chance for balk or pass ball. We're looking at a pass ball chance, and we haven't seen that yet on the new catcher, Miller. So I need to go to the computer to get that, because they're not on the cards, obviously. Miller's pass ball rating is a 6. And it is a 6, so it will be a pass ball on the catcher, Darryl Miller. So again, you trade offense for a little bit less defense when you pinch hit, but you need the pinch hit to get the run. So pick your poison, as they say. Here's Jerry Brown again. Brown is 0 for 4, but he's a good hitter, so they're going to stick with him. 2-9, and that's a fly ball to right, one away. 1 down for Scott Fletcher. He's also a good hitter. He hit .319 on the replay so far. He hit .287 real world, so not pinch hitting for him either. Really don't have that much left on the bench to go to, so they're going to stick with Fletcher. 2-7, and that's a single, 1-17. That's a base hit, 1 star. And now the tying runs are on base, with only 1 out and the tough Ruben Sierra coming to the plate. And, of course, Fletcher will be held at first base, but he's not going to try to steal. You don't run yourself out of an inning. He needs to be on base for Ruben Sierra to drive in. If there's a better situation, you could do it. But Fletcher would only be a 1-15, and then you got to figure 1-14 with it being held. And he's also got a chance to get picked off on an 8, so you really can't afford to take that chance, I don't believe. So Ruben Sierra with a chance. Angels playing for the double play. We have not had a Giovanni's Tailor Shop double play the whole game. No double play of any kind, actually, the whole game. We get a 6-12, and that's a fly ball right field X. That's going to be Rupert Jones. Again, you would have had Devon White, but we had to make that move for the defense to get the offense. So we're looking at Rupert Jones in right field, and he is a 3E12. So that's a big difference than a 1E9, a 3E12, and that could be all the difference in the world. 3-16, though, is probably going to be a sacrifice fly. I would imagine it's an F2. Let's take a look here. 3-16 is an F2. If we had Devon White still in right field, it would have been a shallow fly with no sacrifice fly. But again, you trade offense for defense. That's a 12, and he is an E. We said he was an E12. Is that what he was? 12. Yep, an E12. 12 and a 12 is what we're looking for the left fielder. 12. There's a 13, 14, and 16 here, but no 12. So he makes the play, but it will be a sacrifice fly. Coming in to score is Porter. The lead is cut to 6-5, but now they're 2 away. And it's all up to Pete O'Brien. Fletcher at first base could try to steal to get in scoring position, but could end the game stealing base too, like Babe Ruth did in the World Series. So I think they're going to let O'Brien swing it here. So O'Brien, it's up to him. 4-7, and that's a ground ball shortstop. Actually, they were holding Fletcher on, so it's going to make Schofield a 3-E12 because as a lefty, Fletcher is responsible for holding the runners. So this becomes a 3-E12. 3-E12. 3-17, he'll get to it. Just got to avoid the error. He's an E12, and that's a 9 at shortstop. E12, there's no 9 there. There's a 15, 3, and 18, so he will make the play, and the ball game is over. Rangers get a run back in the 9th, but it's not enough as the California Angels get the victory 6-5 over the Texas Rangers, and they creep a little bit closer to the Oakland A's. We'll get the totals as we go to the box score and wrap this up and set you up for tomorrow's Milwaukee-Toronto game. So with the victory, the Angels improved to 34-31, and the Rangers dropped to 25-36. Jeff Russell takes the loss. He is now 2-2, also blowing his second save. Finley gets the win. He improves to 3-5. Forgot to even put Bice in the box score here. Bice goes 1 inning, gives up 2 hits and a run, which was unearned thanks to the pass ball. No walks, no strikeouts. Bice gets save number 6. So final line score, 6 runs, 11 hits, and 2 errors for the Angels. 5 runs, 9 hits, and 2 errors for the Rangers. And again, home runs in the game to Sensei, his 10th. And that was the only home run of the game. To Sensei, his 10th. Player of the game, I guess you give it to the Sensei. He was 2 for 4 with a home run. I'm not sure who else you would get. Maybe Finley for the 2 1/3 shutout innings. That's possible too. Could go either way with that, I suppose. But tomorrow's game will be in Toronto, north of the border. It'll be the Milwaukee Brewers, Toronto Blue Jays. Juan Nieves, the left-hander, against Dave Stieb, the right-hander. So hope you enjoyed this presentation of 1987 Strat-O-Matic. Despite the Xfinity challenges we had earlier on, hopefully you still were able to persevere, stick with me, and enjoy the ball game. Again, tomorrow we'll be in Toronto, Milwaukee and Toronto. Battle for first place in the American League East. Turning our attention to the American League West, this win by the Angels brings them to within 5 games of the Oakland A's. They were 34-31. With this victory, Oakland is 38-25. So they are 5 games back, 6 in the loss column, but 5 games back overall as they try to battle with the Oakland A's. Everybody else in the West is under 500. Texas really struggling. They have fallen even below Seattle in the West, which is about as bad as you can get. But Milwaukee, Toronto's 2 games back of Milwaukee for first place in the American League East. So that's a definite high caliber clash going on tomorrow. So until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play. However you choose to play it. Hey, Dr. D, I didn't see you there for a minute. However you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.